Perfect.
Hello, Cincinnati. Wow. Thank you, Kimberly. See, guys, a lot of us have had to make sacrifices getting into politics. My biggest sacrifice is I have to travel the country with Kimberly. It's terrible, right? No one's buying it, not even a little bit, right, guys? I'll pay for that later, but it's okay. It's okay. I got a question for you, Ohio. Is anyone sick of all of the winning? Not even a little bit, right? Man, the winning just keeps getting better. Who had fun watching the Mueller debacle last week? Mr. Mueller, have you actually read the Mueller report? Well, no. It's beyond my purview. But Mr. Mueller, your name's on the report. I mean, think about this. 2.5 years, about $40 million. And this guy doesn't even know where it started. It's a shame. Honestly, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. The Dems, they picked a guy who they thought was a beyond reproach. He was a prosecutor, and he was the head of the FBI, and he was a veteran, and they put this guy in there, and it was just a facade. He had no idea what was going on in this investigation. The Dems planted their people, you know, the 19 Hillary donors, some of which were at her victory party that never happened. Yeah. Thank God. Thank God, because, man. And this poor guy, after 2.5 years and $40 million, he's never even heard of Fusion GPS, where it all started. But more importantly, because that was just sort of after the 2 years of hell that I've had to go through, it was nice to watch that, because the rest of America realized what a joke the whole thing was. But you know what? It wasn't just a win for my father. It wasn't just a win for me after God knows how many hours of testimony and nonsense. You know who it was really a win for? All of you. All of you. Man, I love that sound. Imagine chanting USA last night at the Dem debates. That wouldn't be pretty. That wouldn't be pretty. That's exactly why you need the Second Amendment. That's how bad that would go. But it was a win for all of you, because you didn't waver for 1 second. You didn't buy the nonsense for 1 second. You stuck with us. You didn't listen to the talking points. You didn't listen to the mainstream media with their nonsense working as the marketing wing of the Democratic Party. You know what you believed in? The vision. You believed in the results. You saw a politician for the first time, at least in my lifetime, actually deliver on the promises that he made on the campaign trail. Think about that. Imagine that the norm is that politicians make all sorts of promises and then don't deliver. That's what we've gotten used to. That has become acceptable. But when a guy actually does all of the things he says he's going to do, that's when he takes heat. So in 2016, Donald Trump went around and, like all politicians, he made a lot of promises. He said a lot of things. He told you we're going to bring back jobs. Guess what? 6 million new jobs. If Barack Obama lost 250,000 jobs in a quarter, the media, again, the Democrat marketing wing, they'd run around and say he's the greatest president in the history of the world. I love watching these guys on the debate stage last night. We're going to do something about jobs. I go, wait a minute. We've literally set a record for new jobs coming into the country. All you guys can do with your socialist bull crap is blow it. Maybe we shouldn't take that chance. In 2016, when my father said, what do you have to lose? He was right. You had nothing to lose. Today, you have a lot to lose. All-time low African American unemployment. All-time low Hispanic American unemployment. All-time low, within the last 75 years. During the ramp-up of World War II, apparently a few more percentage points of females were working, but basically all-time low female. And what do we get for it? 94% negative news coverage. That's what we're up against. That's what we're up against, guys. It's an uphill battle. On paper, 2020 should be over. But it's not. Okay? We're in a fight with one arm, two arms, sometimes two arms and a leg tied behind our back. Look at just this week. It's amazing that when Donald Trump makes a comment about Baltimore, it's racist, it's terrible, it's this. When the mayor of that town, when the congressman from that town says the exact same thing, oh, no problem. It's sad that using racism has become the easy button of left-wing politics, okay? Because guess what? It still is an issue. It's just not the answer for when the facts don't work for your argument. It's not the answer when the math doesn't quite add up. It exists, but by making a mockery of it, by saying every time you can't win a fight, we're just going to push the button, it's racist. You hurt those that are actually afflicted by it. People hear it, they roll their eyes, and they walk on, and that's a disgrace, and that's what you've been given in the identity politics of the left. You know what Donald Trump is, guys? He's the disciplinarian parent we all needed at one stage in our lives. He's the guy that says the things that you need to hear, not necessarily just the things that you want to hear. And man, it's long overdue. Long overdue. I love watching the other candidates the other night. I want to thank them, by the way. Democrats, thank you, all of you that were on the stage for the last two nights. Thank you for your in-kind contribution to re-electing my father, Donald Trump, in 2020. We could not do it without you. What do you think open borders is going to do to our education system? What do you think it's going to do to our stressed healthcare system? What do you think getting rid of private insurance is going to do? And more importantly, for the people in the Rust Belt in Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, what do you think is going to happen when you get rid of the entire American fossil fuel industry? That's not just coal. That's not just oil. That's transportation. That's the automotive industry. They don't care about your jobs, guys. They're pandering to people. I think they're pandering to people who aren't even American, because I can't imagine these policies working for anyone in this room. We've tried it. Look at Baltimore. It's the example. Donald Trump's terrible because he said this about leadership. Donald Trump's terrible because he said that about Elijah Cummings. Elijah Cummings has been there for 40 years. 40. Name one. There's probably some haters in the room. They always sneak in. Please, name one measurement by which we can look to Baltimore and say that this is a brilliant success story. I'm waiting. Not one. It doesn't exist. But we keep re-electing Democrats. We keep saying this time it's going to be different. It's never going to be different. If you want to fix these towns, if you want to bring back jobs, if you want Americans to actually live their American dream once more, maybe we got to stop the insanity. Maybe we got to stop Einstein's definition of insanity. You know, doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. Maybe it's time we wake the hell up. It's crazy. I look at the hypocrisy. I look at what we're up against, you know. Joe Biden. By the way, don't even worry. I would love to cede my time to Joe Biden, because he can't get through an answer in a debate without staring at his notes, without mumbling and stammering through it. I look forward to seeing him on the stage against Trump. It's going to be awesome. He didn't know the difference between a text message and an email, but that's just me. But Joe embarrassed himself enough last night. But let's talk about the double standard. So a couple of years ago, Joe Biden brings his son, Hunter Biden, who's a journeyman investor, to China with him on Air Force Two. A week later, Hunter Biden comes back with $1.5 billion from the Chinese government. I know some of the most successful investors in America. Guys with actual track records, guys that people have heard of, guys that have done it and been successful over and over again. They'd say, Don, I go to China, I've been going for 15 years, I can't get a dollar. Hunter Biden, that no one's ever heard of, comes back with $1.5 billion. And the media, oh, that's no problem. Let's play some role reversal. What do you guys think would happen if Donald Trump Jr. went to China and came back with $1.5? No, not $1.5 billion, just $1.5. The heads would explode. We wouldn't have anyone covering the show tonight. No one would be here. We would actually solve the media bias problem in one fell swoop. But how many of you have even heard of it? No one. That's why it's not a fair fight. That's why we need you in there. We can keep the winning going, guys. The only thing we have exported as a country on a mass scale for 50 years has been the American dream, and we want to bring it back for you. I want you. I want your kids. I want your grandkids. I want them to live that American dream. And for that to have somehow become controversial is sad. But again, that's what we're up against. They hate Trump much more than they like America. They would be happy to see America fail so long as they could take down Trump in the process. That's what we've lived through for 2.5 years, and they're still going, right? Nancy Pelosi, well, he may still be an agent of the Russians. Guess what, boys and girls? I'd like to see a lot more billionaires go into politics than nobodies go into politics who become millionaires. Where did they get it all from? It's amazing. But they do it. They sell you their bill of goods. They get their friends rich, and they don't care. Well, guess what, guys? Donald Trump is the only one in recent memory who has run for president who didn't need this job. It wasn't a natural progression. It wasn't the next step. And he sure as hell didn't believe it was just his turn. I love what's going on in the Dem debates. You can see the media and the pundits, they're trying to steer it a certain way. Remember what happened last time when they tried to steer it? They gave us Hillary, and I want to say thank you for that. Yeah. They gave us the worst candidate in modern history. It was awesome. But because of that, we've now seen what can be done. We've seen what you can do when you bring conservative values. How about some common sense? How about some work ethic? How about some principles? Everything that America is founded on, the foundation, is all of those things. And we finally have that back in the White House by not just going to the political class who has failed us over and over again. So that's why we need you guys, okay? That's why we need you guys to talk to your friends, to bring them out, to get them up there. We need you to send us your information so we can keep you in the loop on what's going on. All right? We need you in this fight with us. Okay? Everything my father has done has been for you guys. Again, he didn't need this job. He could have sat back, enjoyed life. It was pretty good. Okay? He wasn't naive as to what was going to happen when he put his hat in the ring. He knew it damn well. The last thing he said to me when he got in that elevator on June 16, 2015, to announce his candidacy, he looked me in the eyes and he goes, "And now we find out who our real friends are." And boy, did we ever. And you know what? I count you amongst those people, guys. You are. You are. No one would have guessed it. No one would have thought that, right? I get the irony of the brash billionaire from New York speaking to, not at, speaking to the American worker, fighting for the American worker. And after the 2 years that we've been in this fight together, I like our odds. I like being in it with you guys because we're going to do it. We're going to fix the country. We're going to do it for our kids and for their kids' behalf after them. That's why we're in it, guys. All right? So I just want to thank you for the support, for the love, for being in the fight, because I know it's not easy, man. Trust me. Do I know? But it matters, okay? I know it's not easy to be a conservative. I know it's even harder to be a vocal conservative. And I know it's even harder to be a vocal Trump supporter beyond that. But we're showing that we can get it done. Against all odds, against obstacles and ordeals that no president in the history of the United States has had to face in terms of incoming, in terms of the opposition, in terms of the nonsense. Guess what? The entire world sees it now. So I want to thank you for being in the fight with us. I want to thank you for staying in the fight with us. I know you're going to put us over the top, okay? We're going to do it. And what we can do in 8 years can reverse the bad trends that this country has been on forever. We can take out some of that deep state that is still very real, and we've all seen it. We're going to do that. Oh, God. Oh, boy. We'll talk about that. Let's worry about 2020 first, sir, but I appreciate it, okay? Let's do it in 2020. I look forward to being in the pits with you guys. I look forward to being in the fight. It's all that matters. Let's get it done. Thank you, Ohio. Thank you, Cincinnati. You guys are the best. Thank you.
There you have it, folks. Donald Trump Jr. With remarks at this huge rally here in Cincinnati, Ohio at US Bank Arena. You know, we've actually been to this arena before back in